Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar on WMS for distributors and manufacturers alike. Welcome, Addon. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me again.
Absolutely, absolutely. For those of you who don't know me or Aaron, my name is Clara Custodio. I lead customer experience here at Consensus. And today we are with Aaron Armendariz from WiSys. He's a WMS expert. And we want you to learn a little bit more about WMS and how both manufacturers and distributors can use this tool. And I wanted to start today, Aaron, first of all, thanking everyone for being here and for their patience and loyalty. This really means a lot to us. But second, I wanted to start off with a very, it might look like a simple question, but we, us in the industry, we know what we're talking about. But for someone out there who's not really clear on these terms, what would you say are the differences between an ERP and a WMS system? What do we mean when we talk about ERP and WMS?
Yeah, the ERP is your business system where you maintain your account ledgers, your inventory levels, and control. The WMS portion of that is a bolt-on or an add-on. We're a third-party add-on for SAP Business One. So your business system is your business system, whatever you're using. The WMS is going to extend that functionality of your ERP out to the warehouse where your first touch points are. So typically today, somebody that doesn't have a WMS does a lot of paper-based transactions or even straight through the ERP. What we're going to do is WiSys will extend that functionality out to where those transactions are happening, whether they're in production, manufacturing, distribution, and overall general warehouse transactions. So we're going to do those things in real time. And that's the key, the differences why you would use a WMS is to do those transactions in real time, to have a real time synchronization, real time transactions in the ERP from where you're actually doing those transactions in the warehouse.
That's great. We touched on this a little bit on the last webinar when I asked you who needs a WMS. Can you refresh?
Yeah, and I
concept?
I had a chance about a week to think about that question again, and typically people that need a WMS want another either another level of believability to their data, right? They are expanding, growing their operations to where they can't do everything paper-based or live by tribal knowledge of where things are located. What WMS is going to organize your warehouse in a efficient manner to give you more speed and velocity, right? We're trying to increase how fast we can do things if we're expanding. Accuracy is huge, right? If you want to be more accurate and you want to, again, believe the information that your ERP is telling you from your reporting, that's where WiSys or any WMS is going to help you out. It's going to give you that level of accuracy that you're looking for. And at the end of the day, also you want visibility, right? You want everybody from the CFO to the warehouse workers to the managers, again, to believe the information that what they are doing is the right process for your business, to ultimately give you a better return on investment, helping you grow, helping you expand and scale up as your business grows.
That's great. So for our customers, ERP is SAP Business One, correct? And then for those customers of ours who are looking into adding a WMS solution into their portfolio, what would you say, other than WiSys is the best option, of course, that's the one that is close to your heart. But I was thinking one of the features that I would recommend our customers that run SAP Business One to look for in any WMS solution is that it speaks with the ERP, correct? So that they both speak the same language, then they are ready. And I know that WiSys is ready for SAP Business One, but what other features would you recommend our customers when they are evaluating WMS that they should look for? What is the minimum that they should be looking at in a good WMS solution?
That's a good point too. And like I said, WiSys is my preferred WMS of choice, obviously, but you know, really matching the business processes that you have. Maybe there's unique things, really going at it from a point of what your business processes are. If you are a general distributor, you want to receive, you're going to want to organize your warehouse, you want to inventory that, you want to do cycle counting. I would look into the features that are required for your business, and understanding that WiSys being the preferred choice that I would have is that we can tailor the product to your business needs. So looking at how flexible a system can be is very important in a WMS, right? How easily it is to expand once implemented, once you've been growing and adding more warehouses, more locations, more users, how easy that is. So those are some of the things that I look for in a WMS, especially the other integrated parts, maybe integrated shipping, right, into that product. Some solutions like WiSys have an integrated shipping solution that can seamlessly go from receiving to manufacturing to ultimately shipping, having one solution. But the big thing I think you led off with this is integrated into SAP. There are many WMSs out there. Many of them have their own standalone features, which are great. They have great features to their standalone. The one reason I would identify WiSys as a good fit for a lot of people is if you're doing functionality in SAP today, it's one system, it's one database, it's one source of truth. So as those guys in the warehouse, boots on the ground, are doing the work, you get that visibility from a senior standpoint or an overview standpoint of this is happening in the ERP. So when a goods issue or goods receipt is happening, that's happening in SAP. So having one place where this information is stored rather than multiple different locations, different systems, especially when we're talking about integrating things like EDI, ASNs, stuff like that is going to help you have that all in one location. So it's easier for those other third parties to communicate with SAP Business One.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's jump right into it, Aaron, because I know that you prepared a presentation that shows features for manufacturers and distributors using WiSys. Let me just quickly review.
Yeah.
This slide was meant for presentations, but we already did that. This slide is meant just as a reminder that here at Consensus, we really live our values and we really want to help you. We're here for you. And I just include this slide in all my presentations because this is very close to my heart. This is what I do, and my job is to ensure that we keep on being customer centric. So please reach out if you have any question or need. You really make my day when you contact me and you give me the opportunity to help. So that's what we're here for. And other than that, briefly reminders, every attendee microphone is going to be muted by default, but you can please use the Q&A feature in Zoom. Please write any questions that you have, and Aaron will try to get to those at the end of the presentation. Yeah. Both Aaron and myself, we're going to turn our cameras off right now, and I'm also going to mute ourselves so that we can enjoy Aaron's presentation, and let's hope technically that everything goes. We'll jump into the presentation in just a minute.
Joining, we'd like to take a look at some of the deeper modules within WiSys to help you become more accurate and efficient and faster at what you do today, and helping those of you that do production as well as distribution and things that we've seen in past sessions. Our agenda for today is to review our agility products and identify what we're doing today in the production modules. Also, we're going to demonstrate the buy it, make it, ship it process with WiSys. So we are going to be doing some standard distribution as we've done before. We are going to add that layer of production capabilities with WiSys. Reminder, we're certified in both SQL and HANA. We will work with you as you update your systems in the cloud or on premise. We work with both of the products and we're certified in those as well. What we're going to focus on today is a lot of the things in our Essentials WMS, which is out of the box standard edition. From receiving goods to putting them away, we're also going to do some production issuing, returns, receipts, and backfills. We're also going to use our advanced module, our pallets, to produce to a pallet. So we're going to add some layers of packaging to allow you to speed up your production process today. We're also going to be loading some cartons. We're going to build shipments for LTL truckload and or agility shipping small package today. And that's our agility shipping product, which is fairly new. Last couple of years, we are integrating UPS, FedEx, and USPS directly into WiSys in our shipping station and allowing you one solution to complete all your shipping needs. And typically, today we're going to be demonstrating using an Android emulator like you see on the right-hand side here. WiSys is an Android APK. We run on an IIS server, no longer using classic RDP. Having an IIS server allows you to leave the four walls of the warehouse and then also take advantage of the Android APK, which will take advantage of the native things on the Android device, such as camera, geolocation, picture, signature capture. So these are things that we'll take advantage of today in the demonstration as well. Our design tools. This is not going to be a focus of this session, but I believe it'll be a future session with Consensus. Our design tools allows us to modify everything that you're seeing today to fit your company's needs using our tool set. And this is our secret sauce. This is where we can go and change how a form acts and validates against the database and finds data, whether it's UDF, UDT. We can change that to fit your company's needs, right? It's really great that you don't need to go back for programming or development. We have the tool set that we can modify or tailor our applications on the fly. So these are things that you guys can learn. You can have WiSys representatives do it, as well as Consensus team has a high knowledge of our design tools, which allows you to modify any of the forms that we're going to show you today. So let's not waste a lot of time. Let's get into demoing some stuff. And typically what I'd like to do is standard receiving. We're going to do some put away, but then we're going to do some production with raw goods. And today's demonstration is going to be manufacturing of s'mores. Typically with s'mores, they are graham crackers, marshmallows, and chocolate assembled into a nice little cookie that we're going to produce for our customers to sell or buy and for us to sell and make money. So we're going to start at the receiving. I'm going to bring up my Android handheld, and that should be right here. And agility, again, if I close this out and clear it, this is just an application that runs on your handheld, whether it's your phone, whether it's a tablet, or an actual MC30, 9300, 3300, Zebra models, Honeywell models. They're Android driven, and we can run this APK just like your Candy Crush game or your Google Chrome. It runs just like that. So when I open the application, I do have some default settings that I can log into. Now, for everybody's education, so we know, this connects using an indirect user of SAP, because we are validating and we are working within one singular point of truth of the SAP database. This is not a separate synchronizing WMS. We are physically extending the application of SAP out to the handheld where the first touch point of transactions happen. So I do need to use an SAP authorization to log in. Now these could be indirect users, which easily are a less expensive license from SAP. You can use your limited logistics or professional license to do this as well. Most likely if you're using WiSys, you can use your existing license, but warehouse workers traditionally would use an indirect user license. So now that we're logged in, we do have the availability to see all the things that WiSys has to offer. Today I have them all exposed, but I can really shut those down or really control what the user sees. So if I am working in production, I would only see the applications under our production tab because I've assigned a role to my user, right? So we do have all the other applications, but I'm showing you everything today. So let's receive some stuff, and I want to receive some batch tracked items. We're dealing with food goods. These are going to be batch tracked. They're going to be tracked by FDA, and I want to bring up my purchase order so we can show the relationship when receiving product to make sure that we're doing things live in real time in action. And I'm going to be using a barcode scanner today to be scanning all these transactions. I do not want to be physically looking up items, manually typing. I'm going to use the velocity of barcode scanning to do that. And we do have a purchase order for the items, our raw materials from our bill of materials for s'mores. So I have chocolate, graham crackers, and marshmallows, and I'm going to receive 1,000 of these on this purchase order. I'm going to use the handheld to do that. Okay, and we're going to go to our goods receipt PO application here in WiSys, and this is going to open up a form. We're going to see that the form opens up, and we have to do these forms in order, right? We're going down a list. We're validating that against SAP to really create that accuracy that we're looking for and the velocity that's necessary to receive these items in real time, right? So I have a blue focus field here. I can always look up these orders, the purchase orders here, and see what purchase orders I have open. You'll see the 1376 there. What I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure I scan these. So I'm going to scan the barcode that includes that purchase order number. Now again, you may not have a barcode associated with that purchase order when you receive it, so you might have to visually look it up and inspect it and find the purchase order and type that in. That's acceptable. You'll see that the item level now is highlighted in the blue focus field. What we've done is in real time, we validated that in SAP that this is a valid open PO for us to receive against, right? If I clear that out and I either scan the wrong thing, it's going to give me a haptic feedback and tell me that that's not an open PO to be scanning from. So you don't need the tribal knowledge, but you do have to know how to scan and scan the right items. And you can't skip around once you have that item. You have to identify the correct open order. So I'm going to scan that order again, and that drops us down to the item. And I can do a lookup here and see the 3 items open on that. And I can over receive, I can under receive, I can receive half now, half later. We use a preload table to load all these items in there until we post. So we're going to do these pretty quickly. I'm going to receive the amount on the quantity on the PO so we can see this in an easy fashion. So we're going to take the first item, and you see here, this is a batch tracked item. Based on the item master in SAP, batch tracked items require a batch. Now, within WiSys, you can assign a batch number automatically based on information in SAP. We do have a serial lot builder that will build serial numbers and batch numbers based on your company's needs. Or if provided from the manufacturer, the batch number can be included and scanned right here. So I'm going to scan that batch number, which I have here is 2023-0801. So that's today's date. I have 1,000 remaining. We do handle all units of measure based on the item master in SAP. And I do have a default bin or location that I'm going to be receiving to today. Today, I'd like to get this off the truck. I'd like to put this in a default area, and then we're going to put these away as we go. So I'm going to receive all 1,000 pieces to the dock, and it's going to take me back to the top, and we're going to do the next item, marshmallows. It's going to ask for the batch here, and we're going to do all. The next step that'll happen is it's actually going to in this case, I forgot to set the printer where to print my labels, which is to screen. So I've printed those labels to screen here. You can see that each one of those items, I can print out 1 label or 1,000 labels to put on them. And now I have the barcode associated with them, as well as the batch. This is only necessary when the items don't come with barcodes and you'd like to add them for further use down the line. Let's go back now. So we've posted this item. If we in real time refresh, you'll see that that PO is closed, and I can do a relationship map here and also see that we've created a goods receipt PO. Remember those documents that I printed? Here is the scanned signature that I have, and those pictures will go there as well into this target path under the goods receipt PO. Let's close this purchase order out. Let's close this purchase order. And now we're going to go to our put away of the product. So when I go to put away, the bin is that location default that I've set to have the items there. And those items are going to be sitting in my bin. There's my graham crackers, there's my chocolate, and my marshmallows. And what I like to do is put those away to their proper location. Now at this point, we can build pallets of raw goods and raw materials for overstock, for inventory, for shipping as well. I'm just going to simply put away all the items that we've counted, and I'm going to take that same batch and I'm going to put those away into the first bin that I have available, and I'm going to put 1,000 of those there. Very easily done. Second item is the marshmallows. The same thing we're going to do. We're going to scan the batch because we've printed out the batch on the label. We're going to put those in an associated bin, and we're going to put those 1,000 away as well. And last item are graham crackers. And scan the batch. Scan the bin we're going to move those to, and we're going to put 1,000 of those away. Now you see I have more of these available. And it says I only have 200 available to put away. So it gave me an error. It says you don't have enough of these to put away. So if I clear this out and I hit the graham crackers again, it says that I have 45,000 remaining. I can look up the batches available and say, well, this is the correct batch. I have this batch right here, and I can put 200 of those away. Oh, sorry, we need to put the bin in first that I'm going to move those to and do 200 of those. Right, so I've just put all the items into a correct bin in the warehouse location from a put away action. Now again, these can all be modified, they can be changed. We can determine how you want to put away based on your bin attributes in SAP. So now that we've put some stuff away, I just want to do some visibility actions here so you could see everything that we have in there. I can actually go into an item view here, and I can scan that first item, chocolate, and I could see my stock levels, exactly what SAP is showing me, and I can even drill into the bin and the batch level. So if I do want to see the batches here, those batches I just did are 2023, I have 34,000 of these chocolates with this batch in here. I've done some practice tests, and I have different batch levels. I can see those right there with the WiSys. I can even drill in to the bin level. So we do have some in production, we do have some in staging area, but these are all batch tracks. So it's going to be very important that we know the batch that we're asking for, and we've committed to our production. So let's take a look at another item real quick. I can actually go into the graham crackers, and I can see what batches are available, where they're located. Here are all my batches. There's that last batch we have there. And let's drill into that bin level too. Okay, we could do that as well. So there's my production bin, has some in there. We're going to do some production today. I do have other production orders available, but we do have those there. So we do get clear visibility at a glance by scanning an item where things are located. We don't lose things any longer. We can even scan a bin and scan an item and say, show me exactly what bin they're located in, very easily. Close that out. So let's get into the production portion. Now that we receive stuff, we put it away, we know where things are located in our warehouse. Let's go to that production module here. And on WiSys, it's our third tab. And we do have production that we do fulfill here. And we're going to go look at some production orders. Right, let's look at a production order. And we do have some bill of materials, and obviously a bill of material for a s'more, which we're going to look up here. Very easily is going to be, let's do this, we're going to s'mores, and we're going to find the s'mores bill of material so you could see it. These are manual issued, they're not backflush, so we are issuing all of the goods, but you could have very large bill of materials with both backflushed as well as manual issuing as well, right? You could have all of that. We want to issue manual because we're going to issue these through WiSys, but here's my bill of materials. And I do have a production order ready to go here today that we're going to do. And we're going to go back to our production order 213. And we are going to make 500 of the s'mores. So what I can do is that I could do a pick list, and we can do a WiSys pick to a production order. We do have the capability to do that. We can also just pick these things, right? So we have production issue is what we're going to do first. So this is a release production order. And when we have this, we're going to issue goods to this production order. And this is where we're going to scan that 213 production order, right? And it knows the parent item that we're creating. We're going to take that first item, we're going to take the bin, and we're going to take that new batch that we're going to take, and we're going to do 500 of those. Now we're going to go to the next item, the marshmallows, and we're going to go to the correct bin, the correct batch. Now I can look all these up. If I clear this one out, you know, I can go back to marshmallows. I could look up bins where this is available, right? So I could go to that main bin that I have or some of the other bins that have it, but I got to make sure I take the right batch number. And here are the batch numbers that are available in this bin. So I'm going to click on that batch. I could scan that batch and I'm going to do 500 here. Okay. And then the last item is going to be our graham crackers, right? We're going to scan. Now let's look up the bin here. We could see our bin on here. Well, I'm actually going to take these from the dock because they just came in. And the batch we're going to take there, and we're going to take all 500 of those. Now we've issued these items to production very easily on a handheld device. Now someone at production, when I bring those over, can receive those to production and do a production receipt. When we do a production receipt, this is where it's going to create our finished good and create as many as we need. And there's a default bin I have set. If this were serialized or batch, it's going to ask for a new batch, or it can create my own manufacturer's batch. But let's scan that order again, follow the process through. I'm going to create s'mores, and it says right now there are 0 complete, and we're going to make 500 of these. What I've done today is I've had it create a batch based on information in SAP to create my new batch number. So we're going to do quantity 500 here. Now we've finished that. It's actually printed out new labels for my finished good and the batch that I require on the label. Now I made this label. I'm in sales. I am not an expert on label design. WiSys comes with label design software included in the purchase price. You can design your own labels, UCC 128 labels, packing lists, all of that can be printed out from an action on the handout. So we've finished this production order. We've issued the goods, received the goods, and we've completed a finished good to our bin production bin, right? So if I go back into SAP and I see that I have completed this, right? I've completed this order, and I could say close it, right? We can update it. That order has been completed. Planned quantities 500. We have them all created, and those are in my production bin. So let's actually take a look at that because we want to see the finished good, and now we want to do what's called a put away there as well, just like we did in receiving. So we're going to do a production put away. So we're going to scan that first item, that s'mores that we did, right? And we have batches. We created our unique batches here, and that's the unique batch that we created today, 8, 20, 20, 23 here. We have 500 completed. Well, let's put those in the staging bin because we are going to have to ship those out later today. We are going to pick them, but if we put those away, we'll put 500 away. And those have been moved in real time in SAP from the production bin over to the staging bin, ready for shipment out. Now, that's the simple way to do production. A lot of people will do production based on sales order. A lot of people will build to pallets. So if we want to do a production to a pallet, we can go into our, go back to our production tab, and we can produce to a pallet. So if I go to pallet production or pallet production sales order, I can actually produce a pallet based on that sales order. And let's do that real quick because I do want to show you how nice it is to have a single license plate for finished good items that we're going to produce, and we're going to deliver, you know, basically that whole pallet in an LTL truckload. So I'm going to go to my pallet production, and I'm going to build a new pallet. I'm going to take the next production order, which is, let's look at that production order, right? It's 214 here, right? So I'm going to issue these goods. It's been released. I am going to issue those goods, but what I'm going to do, instead of producing eaches or individual items, I'm going to produce to a pallet. So I'm going to take 214, and I know that I'm creating s'mores. It tells me the sales order that this production order is associated with. So see that in SAP here, that I've assigned a sales order. So what this is doing effectively is allocating this pallet to this sales order. So nobody else can steal that or take that from me and use that for somebody else. But we're going to do it to the staging bin here, and we're going to produce that batch, and we're going to create a new batch here, and we're going to do 500 of those. And it's going to print my now pallet label, which includes the batch information. So we'll no longer have to scan the batch. Within this pallet 687, so this is WiSys' packaging layer, I've created a pallet of these s'mores 500. So let's take a look at those in my pallet view here. So if I go to my pallet module here and I do a pallet view, if I go to pallet view here, I go to pallet view here, I can actually type in that pallet 687 and I can see everything that's on that pallet, and actually even my create date. I could even drill into my batch information on that pallet. So there could be multiple batches, multiple serial numbers. I only need to be scanning this pallet number 687. So let's remember that pallet 687 for later. So we do have some sales orders. So we've produced some stuff. We have some sales orders. The next thing I do want to show you in the production module, which is very important, is sometimes we want to do production orders ad hoc on the fly. So somebody hasn't created a production. So we have sales orders. WiSys has, we have sales orders in the system today that we're going to fulfill against these production orders. Now WiSys does do return from production. We'll even do production backfill, which will allow you to build a production order with the handheld without doing any of the SAP work. We can create a production order on the fly or a ad hoc. You know, when you have to produce something and you don't have a production order, we can have the availability to do that. So we do have many different functionalities in production that we've done. We've done a manual production, and we've also produced to a pallet. So let's actually go back now to fulfill some sales orders using our LTL truckload module on the desktop. So let's close out of the production orders that have been released. Let's refresh this one. And we're going to close this production order, and we're going to update this. And we have 214 done. So let's actually go to some sales orders, because I do want to have that one sales order that had the pallet of s'mores ready. So this is a sales order of 500 s'mores. And remember, we produced to a pallet 500 s'mores. So in this case, remember pallet 687, I should be able to load this pallet onto a shipment and then deliver that using LTL truckload on the desktop. So we can, and we do have the availability to load pallets on the handheld device, which we're going to do here. We're going to build a new shipment, and we're going to what's called load pallets. Now we can use a pick list. We can do this without pick list. There are many different ways to load and build shipments for pallets, but the easy way with this order is we're going to load a pallet, and we're going to say a new shipment, and we're going to use that order that we have, this last order, 1312, right? And we could scan that order on the box or the pallet. And the item is going to be, there's the s'mores, right? Quantity 500. Let's scan that, right? And we're going to take now that pallet that we built for that order, 687, and hit enter. And we're taking that pallet and we're attaching it to a shipment. Right? So now this order has a shipment number, 171. So I've loaded this pallet into the aisle, into maybe a container where I want to ship this out LTL. We have a shipment number associated with that order. So let's go to our desktop application in WiSys here, our Agility Explorer, which is our desktop application. And let's go to the Sales tab. Under the Sales tab, we do have our Fulfillment Manager, which is where we're going to do the LTL truckload shipment right from a desktop solution. Now remember that shipment number we had, 171. I've loaded those pallets onto the shipment already. You'll see that that pallet here has 500 s'mores on it, and that my order can be shipped out LTL or truckload. And we do offer UPS, FedEx, and USPS here. We are going to use the LTL truckload icon today to load this and ship this out using my truckload application. So that easy. I've just been able to create, produce to a pallet. I've been able to load that pallet onto a shipment, maybe into a container or a truck. And now I can print the bill of lading. And when I hit the print here, I can add any of my third-party freight information. I can add in my weights and measures and things that I need to add in there. And I'm going to print out a bill of lading. What this is also going to do is going to relieve the inventory with a delivery note. So we can create a packing list. We can create this bill. Here's a packing list now. I can have a packing list print. With that button, I can do several different things. Carton labels, bill of lading. Right here is the bill of lading. So you can see that any document can be printed from that delivery. And now what that shipment's going to do after this, it's going to leave. It's going away. That shipment has been shipped. And I can look at shipped items here. If I look at the last shipped item in that shipping tree, it tells me that that pallet has been shipped. So very easily, I've fulfilled a sales order directly from a pallet. Now we can go deeper into a lot of these things. What I'd like to do next for you is fulfill an order via UPS and FedEx. And this way, what we're going to do is we're going to pick an order using the SAP pick list, and we're going to fill that order via UPS. So just a different way than we just did the LTL. So let's go through that real quick. So let's actually go to the order in SAP that we're going to fulfill the next order here. And there's an open order 1311. Again, the same number of quantity, but we're going to ship this as each is through SAP and WiSys Agility Shipping. So let's generate a pick list here. So I've just simply right-clicked and created a pick list, and we're going to allocate these items to a pick, and that's what we're going to grab here is we're going to allocate the correct items here, right? So we're going to do this one. So we're going to allocate 500 here. And we're going to select quantity of this batch because this is the batch we just created today. So we're going to update that, and we're going to release this pick list. Notice that I have the allocated amount to be released with the batch, and we're going to go through the pick list generation, and we're going to pick these items as we see them. So it's created a pick list 94. And now we go into our handheld device, and we've assigned that pick list to a group of users, a single user, but what we're going to do is we're going to do a directed sales order pick here. And we're going to pick these just like we'd pick items in our warehouse. So there's many different ways to pick. There's many different ways to pack. I'm showing you a couple of different ways that WiSys handles this. Here's the directed sales order pick. And remember that pick list number was 94 that we see on the screen. It's been released. There's the order, and it's telling me which batch and which bin to get these at. So we've allocated batch information and bin, and I have to validate that by scanning the item, scanning the bin, and now scanning the quantity of 500. And you'll see that that pick list has been fully picked, and that shows here in that we've picked this order. Right, so now that we've picked this and we've staged this, we've moved this over to our staging area, we can now ship this just like any order with our fulfillment manager, and we're going to use LTL truckload. So we're going to do a new shipment. So you can fulfill this on a handheld and bring this over, or you could bring everything over to a shipping station, a packing station, to pack these items. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a carton. So I'm going to bring a box that's set up in WiSys, and I'm going to add those items to the carton. And I know my order number. I'm going to scan that order number, 1311. I'm going to scan the s'mores, right? I'm going to scan the bin that I'm taking those from. And here's where I have to scan the batch to validate it. And I'm going to bring 500 of those into this single box. Click OK. And you'll see, just like before with a pallet, I've created a single box for my case of s'mores. And based on that sales order, I have a UPS ground as my first ship via. I'm going to see now that my UPS is lit up here, and I can select that to connect to Agility Shipping and connect to the DI API or the API of UPS to be able to select my service level. I can ship my ship to, my third-party shipping if this was a drop ship. We even have the option now with international shipping that is originating in the US, and we can do international shipping now. But very easily, again, I want to do a composite transaction. I'm actually going to click on this ship, and it takes the weights and measures of that carton and those items based on my item master and SAP. Oh, my weight is too high. So we're going to take this weight and we're actually going to reweigh this on the scale. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, so let's hit the ship button again. So maximum weight for UPS is 150. We had 180 on that. So what I've just done is I've shipped that. It connected the API of UPS. It gave me a shipping label as well, right? So it's printing out my label. It's going to relieve that inventory. Now let's take a look at that shipped again, right? I have the availability to do a package label, a bill of lading. So if I hit bill of lading here, I could print a bill of lading or a packing list as well with that shipment. That can all happen with a single click of the button. So we've shipped that. This has been shipped. It has an S status. There's a bill of lading. Whatever my needs are, my document management, I can print out those items. But we've directly connected to UPS to ship this. It gave us a shipping label. Now when I go into SAP, if I refresh this, this order is closed, and I do a relationship map here, and here's my delivery note. My delivery note has been created, and I do have my logistics tab tracking information populated right back into SAP. So to summarize effectively, what we've done here is we've received product into the warehouse from standard POs. We've put those items away. We have done some production orders in a couple of different ways. We've produced items from a production order. We've also produced items to a sales order in a pallet. We've delivered that pallet with LTL truckload, and we've also delivered another order via UPS using the same finished goods with batch track that we did here. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I thank the Consensus team for having us. I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to answer them now, and we'll go back to the session. Thank you all.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for that presentation. It was
You're welcome.
It was very thorough, and I'm sure that a lot of our customers would like to see that in their own warehouses already, doing things so easily. So we have some questions, and the first one, Aaron, if you have a couple of minutes, is regarding licensing. So one of the attendees is asking, are there professional and limited licenses in WiSys like SAP Business One? Can you maybe go through licensing a little bit and explain how it works?
We actually have three different levels of licensing for handheld devices and users in WiSys. So we have an out-of-the-box Essentials product, which is our least expensive product. That's going to give everything standard out of the box. There's no manipulating or tailoring the product. It's going to give you those standard production transactions. It does not include our advanced fulfillment or shipping modules or pallet management. So our Essentials product is when somebody comes and asks, I just need basic barcoding, inventory management. I don't need to do packaging, picking, shipping, any of that. That's our Essentials. Our next level up is our Professional edition, which is a very popular edition, gives you all those same things in the Essentials, but what it does is it gives you our tool set to tailor the product. Whether it's on the desktop or it's on the handheld, you can now have the availability to Consensus, WiSys, and even learn how to tailor your own product. The most popular edition, which is our Enterprise, which is our all-encompassing edition, gives you everything that WiSys has to offer. It gives you our Essentials product, which is the basic functionality of barcoding, inventory management, production. It gives you our design tools to be able to modify it. but it also gives us the pallet management, that packaging layer that's going to give us even more velocity and more flexibility. It's going to give you that fulfillment manager where we can ship LTL, build large complex shipments for LTL truckload, and also gives us agility shipping integration. So there's no need to buy anymore once you get into that enterprise edition. You get everything that WiSys offers, including agility shipping, which typically in most other solutions is a completely different product that you have to add on, maybe another third-party product that you need to have. WiSys includes that in our enterprise edition. That is our most popular edition. Most people that want to take advantage of barcoding, inventory management, they also want that availability to create more velocity with that pallet management and our fulfillment manager, which which allows you to build those complex shipments. So if you're doing EDI, ASNs, any large big box shipments with DCs, UCC 128 labels, SSCC labels, you're going to need that enterprise edition. And I believe that you'll be able to help them, assist them with pricing of that. Now, I do want to add that the licensing is per device. So if you have 10 devices, you would need 10 WiSys licenses. Now you can have 4, 5, 6 people, depending on your shifts of your company, they would use an indirect user license of SAP, or they would use, if you're a manager and you already have an SAP license, you could use that as well. But most likely you're going to need the less expensive indirect user license. And that's going to give you that traceability that we're looking for to assign tasks and jobs using SAP. And then we're going to assign those to people on the handheld. So the WiSys licensing is based on the handheld, and you can have concurrent licenses. So if you have 10 handhelds and you're only using 5 at once, you can switch between as long as you don't exceed 5. But yeah, there's 3 different levels of, and we can share that pricing and information with you as necessary during our discovery and demoing. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Aaron. The other question we have is regarding handhelds. Do you guys recommend the specific brands of handhelds, or do you have hardware requirements for the handhelds that go best with WiSys? Is that something that you can help with?
Yeah, well, the nice thing is with WiSys, unlike other WMSs, is that we're an Android-based APK. So that Android application runs on your Android device. And in my opinion, it's what works best for your environment. Some people like tablets. Some people like the traditional handheld or scan gun grip style. PDA level helps as long as it's Android. But there's a lot of things that we want to think about when we're talking about handheld devices or hardware. These are mobile computers. Depending on your warehouse, do you have frozen freezers, right? Do you have below temperature needs, right? Frozen storage. Do you have many liquids? Do you need waterproof? Are you outdoors? The other thing is long range scanning. So if you're scanning 3 levels high of a row, can your device scan that? So this, typically most people don't use a cell phone because there's not a traditional scanner on that, and you can't scan long distances or barcodes with a cell phone. But you can use WiSys on a cell phone. You just won't have the capabilities necessary for your environment. So with Consensus' help, we can review those. The most popular ones are going to be the Zebra models, the MC3300, 9300. They are on our website. We could share those recommendations, but it's really best what fits your environment. Some people, they are rather pricey. They do, they are mobile computers. They can run anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. You could try a couple of different styles out to see what fits you guys best, but we can help with that too.
Okay, great. Well, Aaron, it was a pleasure. As always, we don't have any more questions right now, and I'm really glad that we got this content out to our customers. Please know that we are here for you, both Aaron, myself, and the sales team at Consensus. We can arrange for a meeting if you want to explore how WiSys would look for your company and how it would work for you, and ready to answer any question you might have. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Aaron, for your time and presentation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone else, for your patience and loyalty and for joining this presentation. I hope it was worth it. Have a wonderful day.